My name is Dan. I'm going to be 59 this summer, and I identify as a gay male.
Do you think being gay makes aging different?
I think it can make aging different because there are specific issues to our community that providers need to be able to be sensitive to and provide support for. I'm concerned as I age, should I ever end up in something like what I saw my parents in, a skilled nursing facility, whether or not they would be open and accommodating to the fact that I'm a gay male and I may have a partner again at that point, and would they allow visitation? So there's some concerns that I have. Luckily, for me, I have a doctor who's very understanding. I can have open conversations with him. He knew about my husband and my husband's cancer before he died, and actually the hospitals were pretty good when Al was in the hospital, and they allowed us to see each other, to be present to one another. But I also went the full route and had durable power of attorney for healthcare signed and all the paperwork. So I made sure that that was on board before any of this occurred. So that, I think, is helpful. Make sure that LGBT couples make sure that they have all the legal requirements and paperwork together before any of this stuff happens.
Let's talk a little bit about resiliency. How well have you been able to face challenges as they've come along?
Resiliency, I think, is an individual characteristic that everyone has to find their way. For me, part of my resiliency, I believe, comes from the fact that I am gay, and I recognize that. I came out rather early in the 70s when my first experiences were when I was 19, but I came out fully when I was 20. And that coming out process, I think, really helped me understand where I was coming from and an identity as a gay man. And resiliency is something that I pull from. Specifically, it's about things that I might do that would be helpful, making sure I have a community of people around me to support me. I have a spiritual life, attend services, because my deceased husband was an Episcopal priest. So that's kind of built into my resiliency. So I use prayer and meditation, exercise. So starting with people's part of the resiliency, and what I may have internally that connects with other individuals. Because the research shows that we're wired for relationships. Our brains are wired that way, and finding the resiliency being a gay man, I think, is being able to connect with other individuals.
As you grow older, do you anticipate any specific challenges?
I think as I grow older, challenges are going to be primarily around health and what services are going to be available for me and the rest of the LGBT community. As the population ages, I'm part of the baby boom generation, and I think taking care of health is really important, but are the services going to be available for us? And are the services and the system sensitive to LGBT needs? We have very similar needs to the straight community, to the rest of the world, but people need to have a level of openness and sensitivity toward that. I think in Rhode Island we have some good supports, which is great, but I'm concerned about the things that are happening in other states that are not as open.
How do you stay socially connected?
Socially connected. Um, let's see. The first thing I think of is trying to go out and be in public, be in the world. I'm somewhat socially connected professionally because of the work that I do, so I might have to go to professional events, but I try to support the arts. I'm a social media person, so I am on social media and I connect people with people that way. And I belong to some affinity groups, online that are LGBT specific, and try to go out to events, at least once a month, but also support LGBT agencies. Like supporting Youth Pride, I think, is really important, and supporting SAGE. These are public representations of the strengths of our community that other people need to be able to see.
If you could sit down with your younger self, what would you say?
It sounds like a cliche, but to tell my younger self, hang in there, it does get better, I think is pretty wise. There were times when I was younger not understanding how I was going to live into this life of being a gay man. But certainly with the supports, the social supports, legislation that has been enacted has improved the quality of my life and the life of other individuals that I know of. So I would say to myself, hang in there, it gets better.